Hi, everybody, and welcome to Thriving LDS Singles. We're so excited to have you here, and we've got another interview for you today. So, hi, Kim, my co-host. Hi, Kim.
Hello, everybody.
Looking very pretty in pink there.
I love pink.
Yeah, that's great. And Amber. Hi, Amber.
Hello, how are you?
Good. So today we're going to be talking about a tough topic called grief. And I just want to read you a little bit about Amber's life experience. We were just joking with her before that she looks about 20 years old. So I don't know how she's had all this life experience already. But we'll get on to that as we talk to her. But because Amber has experienced grief in many different ways in her life, including learning that her son is going to have special needs and then going through a divorce. Her heaviest and most recent experience was the grief with the loss of her second husband. Through her grief, she's found ways to find joy and happiness and has taught thousands of women how to do the same. Amber has 4 kids. She affectionately calls her hooligans, and she's always teaching them that we can do hard things. So, Amber, that's actually mirrors my life story, but obviously you've packed it into a few closer years because, yes, I divorced, my first husband and then my second husband died. And so that grief from both things is, people forget that grief is more than just the death of somebody. Grief covers the whole thing. And we were just talking how there's a conference coming up in a couple of weeks where Amber's the speaker, the Life After Loss Conference, BYU Education Week conference. And the theme is about loss in all the different directions. So talk to us a bit about your life, a bit more about your life story, Amber.
Yeah. So there's so much that's happened in the last 15 years, but I got married shortly after high school. A boy came home from his mission right around the time I graduated high school. We dated, we got married, and we have this beautiful little life. And after we'd been married about 2 years, we had our first child, and he was born a couple weeks early, and we found out at birth that he has Down syndrome. And it was amazing and also a struggle. I really struggled with that. I had really bad postpartum after that. And I don't know, I wasn't upset that he had special needs, that he has Down syndrome. I felt so bad that he had to have me as a mom. And I will say that I did grieve a little bit the life that I thought we were going to have and that he was going to have, my whole idea of him playing sports or doing student council or taking a girl to prom and going on a mission, getting married, having kids, all of those things I knew was just going to look very different now. And he might still be able to do some of those things and some of those things he won't. And so that was just really hard for me in the beginning, to be honest, with my first child.
It is a tough one for your first child, and all those dreams are real. Like we do see this life that
it was this life that I had pictured for him, like that how he was going to live this life. And I had just turned 21 when I had him. So when we were married 2 years, so I think I was a little bit naive in what raising a child was going to be. I was like, oh, he's just going to be this cute baby and I'm going to dress him in these clothes and then we're going to grow together and everything. So then for him to be born with these special needs, and he now needs all of these therapies, and the state was calling and here, we want to provide these services for you, but he needs these evaluations first. It was a completely different language for me, to where I was like, no, I just want to stay home and snuggle my baby. I don't want to have to take him to all of these appointments. Like it was just very overwhelming. And it was hard because it was just a totally different life than what I had planned. And I knew that wasn't going to be just those first couple months or those first couple of years. That's going to be the rest of his life. And he's 14 now and he's amazing. And he's like the greatest thing. His name's Jude. And I always say to be loved by Jude is just pure heaven because he's one of the best parts of my life. He's amazing. But that was hard in the beginning. And then when my husband and I were married, I don't even know now. Feels like so long ago, 6 years, we had our second baby. And so our boys were now 4 and 4 months old. And that was when we separated. He came in one night and just packed a bag, said he didn't want to be married to me anymore, and then left. And that was really hard because I was blindsided. It wasn't like we were having to go through therapy or we had been having issues and we were trying to decide. It was one of the happiest I had been in a while. We just having our second baby, and then for him to just pack that bag and leave. was really, really hard. It was a
Mm,
struggle. And so I just threw myself into my kids, my two boys, just, we were the three musketeers. It was at that time that I was like, I am the only one that can give my kids a happy mom who loves life. And so that was just the mentality that I had moving forward. And then when we were divorced for just a couple of months, we have joint custody. So passing the boys back and forth. And because they were so young, it was every couple of days that they were going back and forth between houses. He had said to me, I think I might have jumped the gun in wanting to get divorced, and asked if I wanted to go to dinner sometime, which again was a shock. I always tell people to add that to their bingo card, their life bingo card, being asked out on a date by your ex-husband. And we dated for a little bit. I know. We dated for a little bit. We ultimately got remarried. And it was a couple months later that he ended up leaving again. He said, I can't do it. I tried and I couldn't do it. So that was about 13 months from the first time that he packed a bag to the second time that he packed a bag and then left. And
mm,
so that was just a big grieving part.
mm,
When you marry someone and you think you're going to spend your life and eternity with them, and then they have different plans than you
mm,
do. And then you go through the marriage thing again, and then they change their mind again. So that was another aspect of grief that I definitely went through. And I feel like I had to grieve a lot of the life I thought we were going to have, and then also the woman that I was, because these life, these big life moments, life changes change you as a person when you have to adapt and figure out who you're going to be now without them and by yourself. And it was a few months after that that I was very happy being single. And my boys were now, I don't even know. My boys were now 6 and not quite 2, I believe. And then I met my now husband, who I just say was an answer to prayers. He was my promised land, is what I like to say. And just, he was the reason why I went through so many hard things. And if you could like 3D print the man of my dreams into someone, it would be him. His name is Tim. He's absolutely incredible. We have 2 kids together. And when we were married just over 3 years, our youngest was a month old, Tim was diagnosed with terminal brain cancer. It's called glioblastoma.
oh,
And then, yeah, so I was doing middle of the night feedings with my 1 month old and middle of the night chemo with my husband, and, chemo doses and things like that. And then he had 4 tumor resections, chemo, radiation, all of the infusions. We did the diet change. He did a couple of clinical trials, and he passed away in June of 2022. So from diagnosis to death was 16 months. And our kids were 11, 7, 3, and 17 months old. I was 32. So
that's just, oh,
Mhm. So much.
so much. I mean, I've been through those same things, but yeah, not with also like brand new babies. Like,
uh-huh.
1-month-old babies are hard work. Like
Yeah.
that's when I had 1-month-old babies, there was no other world. There was just that.
No, you are locked into that. It's you and that baby, just trying to
Yeah.
help them. You grew them and then they're born, and now you're trying to help them survive, in the
Mm,
real world. And yeah, so it was a wild, wild time. It was
mm.
very tricky.
And then I've done the chemo stuff, with my husband, and that was hard, and going to hospitals and treatments, and yeah,
Yeah.
that was hard. But to do the 2 hard things together, no,
Yeah. It was a lot.
it was a lot.
I won't sugarcoat it. It was hard.
Yeah, yeah.
How, how would you say you're like, that's so much to process and heal
Yeah.
from and move through? Like, maybe just share a little bit of kind of how you're feeling today and where you're at maybe in that process. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's only a few years. That's right. It's been.
Yeah. Yeah. It hasn't even been 3 years. So he was diagnosed just over 4 years ago. And then it'll be 3 years in June, which will just be in a few short months. So I'm just over 2.5 years. I would say that first year after they pass away, it's all about survival. Like you're just trying to get through each day. And like I said, my youngest 2 were 3 and 17 months. So of my 4 kids, my oldest is my Jude, who has Down syndrome. He's still in diapers today. He's incontinent. It's something that we're working on. So when my husband died, I had 3 of my 4 kids still in diapers. My 3-year-old was still in diapers. My 17-month-old was still in diapers. So that first year truly was just survival. Just, I need to wake up every day and make sure I'm fed and my kids are fed and their emotional needs are met. And then you're just trying to get through all of those firsts. Okay, I can get through the first. And then you hit that first year and you feel this sense of accomplishment, like I did it. Okay, I did it. And then they say the second year is harder. And I won't say it's harder. It's just hard in a different way, because then you realize after that first year of like, this is my reality. Like, oh, I went through that first year, and then it's not like he's magically going to come back. Like, I have to now do this for a second year and a third year and a fourth year after that. So that second year definitely was just stepping into, this is my reality now, and how can I find a new routine? Now that I'm in this third year, it's been really good. It's been this place of, who am I? It's been hard because I married him, and you have that thought of like, I'm going to spend the rest of my life with him. So you have hopes and you have dreams and you have plans that you're going to make together. And then he dies, and a lot of them you still want to continue, and others you have to let go of, just because, like I said, with my divorce, I had to mourn that girl was. I had to mourn who I was with my husband. It was really hard for me because I loved who I was with my husband, my second husband. I loved that girl. And so I really had to hold space for that and then let her go, because death just changes you. And I had to step into who I am now. So within that first year or two, I definitely had a lot of conversations with the Lord of, what is it that you want from me? I had a lot of hard conversations with the Lord about that, because I felt like every time I had made this decision that I felt prompted by the Lord and guided by the Lord to do, something happened to where my life completely changed. And it wasn't just like a little life thing. It was like the whole rug was ripped out from underneath me, and the Lord was telling me to pivot hard in a different direction. So I really prayed, what is it that you want from me at this point? I will do whatever it is that you want, but I just need to know what you want from me. So it's been a lot of handing my life over to the Lord at this point. If that makes any sense at all, of just, I will go where you want me to go, you know?
Yeah.
I think it makes perfect sense to me, because I've literally said the same things. It's like, okay, I quit. You know, like, tell me what you want. I'll just do
Truly.
whatever it is you want.
You do have this, like, throw your hands in the air and you're like, I quit. It's so hard to make plans when who knows if this is going to get, pulled out from underneath me too. So not to say that I don't, the Lord gave us agency. And so there are a lot of plans I do make, and there's decisions I've made, but people ask me a lot, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years, or what do you want from the future? And I always just say, I want to be happy, because so many things in my life have not turned out the way that I planned or wanted to. So wherever the Lord has taken me in 5 years, I just want to be happy. That's all. That's the one thing that I want.
Yeah, I can only imagine, because when you get just one big disruptor like that, like going through my divorce, and even now, me 4 years later, after being married for so long, it's hard to dream about what I want my future to be, because
Yes.
it's hard to, when you get surprised by something like that, it's hard to overcome that, and to have trust and to have faith and to be able to dream about having the future that you want, because it got pulled out from under you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah. That is really challenging.
So Amber, what suggestions do you have for people to have happiness again? Like, we see so many people like in our groups, Facebook groups and things, and it's like, I'm never going to be happy again. Like, I loved this person and now it's gone, and some quite
Very
sad.
Stuck.
Very stuck.
Very stuck.
Yeah.
It's hard. And I want to validate that, first of all. Like, that is such a real place to be in. And those are such real emotions. And I've felt it. There are times I still feel it. I'm sure we all feel it. For me, I am at a point right now where I am very comfortable being where I'm at. I love where I'm at. And I had to, how do I I have a lot of thoughts. I had to fall in love with myself again, because it's being married to my second husband. I felt very loved and adored and cherished. And I felt like Heavenly Father, I knew who I was in Heavenly Father's eyes because of how my husband loved me. And then he left. So then I was like, I will never be loved by that. Like, no one will ever see me like that. So then I just went on this kind of self journey of like, I need to be comfortable with who I am, and I need to be comfortable being single, and I need to be comfortable in my daily life. And so I went on this like, well, I'm going to fall in love with who I am. And I really feel like I've gotten there. Like I I've mourned the girl that I was, but the woman that I'm stepping into, like I have just fallen in love with her so much. And that might sound strange to say or strange to hear, but instead of searching for something else to fill the spot that my husband had, he gave me that validation. Like I said, I felt loved and I felt adored, and I felt that from him. And then he's now gone. I had to figure out, how can I feel that within myself, coming from the Lord and from the things that are currently in my life with my family and my friends and my kids and things like that, or my hobbies. And so I just really had to step into, who am I and who do I want to be in this world? Because yes, I am my husband's wife. Being his wife is the greatest privilege and honor that I will have on this earth, besides being a mom. But I am also a woman. I am a woman first. And I think that's so important, that I know who I am and I feel loved and cherished as a woman.
Yeah,
I hope that answered your question.
it
Yeah,
does.
well, it does, but yeah, I think we want more of, like, how do you do that? Like,
How, I know that's always the thing, is how, and I think it just feeds everyone's soul so differently. So I started something years ago, after when I was going through my postpartum with my first child, and I talk about it a lot on my social media. I talk about it a lot when I give my keynotes, and I call it my pocket of happiness. So I started it when I had a hard time finding joy in my life at all. Like I was just so depressed. I was like, there is nothing good out there. And this was when my baby was just like itty bitty, days, weeks, months old. And I would just find things in my day that I wanted to put in my pocket for later, just things that made me happy, that I could then pull out and just kind of feel like, okay, my life is okay. Sometimes it was something that like invoked an emotional response, like a song or something someone said. Sometimes it was like my next door neighbor's flowers. Like it started out as such small things. My mom bought me my favorite chapstick or something like that. And then over time, it's something I still do today, 14, 15 years later. It's grown into bigger, more things. Some people compare it to like a gratitude journal, which yes, it is similar, but I just still think it's so different, because I put things in there like my favorite red nail polish or my favorite earrings, or like I said, a song on the radio. And sometimes you don't write that you're grateful for that, but you write bigger things that you're grateful for. But I'm like, someone called me and told me that they thought of me, or I mean, I could name a million different things right now that could fit in your pocket of happiness. And I just feel like over time that has just helped me see so many joyful moments. I always say that I think all lights twinkle, and music is laced with magic. It's just, as if you look for those things in your life that make you happy, like you'll find them. You'll find them.
Yeah,
that's
Where I always
beautiful.
start. I always start there. Start with your pocket of happiness. What's going to go in your pocket today?
I love it, because yeah, I'm a very strong believer in the gratitude journal.
Yeah.
But yeah, do it all through the day. Don't leave it till just when you're writing something down. Like find
Yeah.
it all through the day. That's
Yeah.
lovely.
yeah, and I love the idea of like putting it in your pocket and carrying it around with you, because
Yeah.
you're anchoring feelings and senses that you can quickly get back to when something might be going a little awry. It's like, oh, I have this thing in my pocket that I
Yes.
can anchor myself.
Yeah, I just feel like I need to pull it out for later. This morning, I was helping my 4-year-old on the toilet, and it was not my favorite moment. And I had a million other things to be doing. And I think I was frustrated about something else. And then he just leaned over and gave me a little kiss on the cheek. And I was like, that is going right into my pocket for later on when I'm frustrated with him again or something, that he just like gave me this little kiss on the cheek, to where I'm like, okay, my life, not terrible. And that can be so hard. Like I said, when you guys said that you feel so stuck, when you feel so stuck in your life. And I don't remember, I wish I could remember who said it, but just said that we are the architects of our own happiness, that we just cannot look for external things, external people, external, all of that to make us happy. We can't wait for it to happen to us. It's up to us to create that joy that we're going to have.
Yeah, I love that. So,
I'm gonna
and
look that up because you said that. Yeah.
your cute
That's good.
example of the kiss actually makes me think of how do you take care of yourself? I mean, it's got to be crazy. Like how do you do self-love and self-care for yourself?
I think that's the question I come back to all the time. I feel like I always have to like tap into myself and like, am I giving myself self-love, self-care, and all of that. I have an amazing support system. I have family that live close by. My ward has been incredible. I've been in my ward 11 years, so they've seen me through divorce, marriage, divorce, kids, husband, cancer, like all of that. And so I have an amazing support system. But I think a big part of it, I do have to carve out the time. Someone once said to me, like, everyone has 24 hours in a day. And so it's up to you how you make the time of it. And so I'm a big believer in like romanticizing ordinary moments in your life. So for example, like I always dreaded washing my face at the end of the night. I was so tired. Like I don't want to brush my teeth and wash my face. So I either didn't do it, or if I did it, it was always exhausting. And so I now will like light a candle and I always play music. I have my headphones in. And I just really started making that nighttime routine of mine, like one of my, I'm going to look forward to it every night. And sometimes I get myself a little sweet treat. And I know this sounds so silly that you're like, is that really what's going to change your day? For me, it did. And I promised by it, like, just try it. Try something like this. And so I started taking those like simple washing your face at the end of the night. Those are my favorite moments. That's my downtime that I like, and I take such better care of my skin and my hair and all of that, because that is my time to stop and unwind and remember that I am a woman and that I'm not just a mom. You know, I don't have to go every day with, I don't have spit up in my hair anymore, but back in the day when I did, you know, or whatever it is, not on my sleeve, because that's how I end most of my days. But that's my moment to remember that I am a person and I am a woman and I deserve to spend that time on myself. You know, so I say like I drink out of the fancy cup because I think it makes me happy, but I love to read. So I have gotten into audiobooks. I just have really tried to carve out the time. And then I also when I really feel like I need it and I'm desperate for it is when I send out the spark, the flag, the flame, whatever it is of SOS, like I need a minute, you
Ask
know.
for help.
I ask for help. You have to. And I just have so many good people in my corner that have been able to really just step in. And I either say like, can I drop my kids off with you? Or if I put my kids to bed, will you come over when they're asleep? And then I can go to Target and wander around or whatever it is. So asking for help is huge.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
really
that's a tough one, but a good one. Yeah, but I do love him.
It took me a long time to learn to do that. It really did. So I won't say that it's been easy for me. It's taken me years to get to the point where I can say, I need a break. Can someone come watch my kids, or can I drop my kids off with you for a little bit? So it's hard.
But I do love your nighttime ritual, like, because I know that feeling of like, you know, by the time you've done everything and you think, oh, got to wash my face and brush my teeth, and luckily for me, I can't go to sleep with dirty teeth. You know, I don't like the furry feeling. Like,
the furry,
I
the
usually manage
sweater.
that one, but the face washing one is like, yeah, make a whole, like, make it something special rather than, oh, I've still got this to do.
Yeah, yeah. So like when I clean my house at the end of the night, you know, my kids will help me clean up the toys and stuff, but then there's also dishes and maybe a load of laundry. That's sometimes when I save the book I've been reading or to listen to, because I listen to audiobooks, or I'll save a podcast that I really have been wanting to listen to for that time. Or all day long, I'm thinking about like, what music do I want to listen to? Because I really try to be like, if I have to clean and sweep and mop my floor, which I hate doing, like what can I do to enjoy that moment? And I'll make a little playlist of like, this is what I'm going to listen to tonight. And then I get excited about it throughout the day. And then I turn it on and this is mom's time, you know, like let it rock, let it roll. And then cleaning gets done and then I have that time. So I am a big believer in romanticizing ordinary moments in your day.
Beautiful, yes. And the audiobooks, Discovering Deseret Book Plus, where you can pay just a fee and then you get as many books as you want.
It's been amazing.
That is a great little thing. I don't know what it is in American terms, but it's really not that expensive, is it, for the month?
It's not.
So worth it. So worth it.
Yeah.
And you can listen to as many books. I mean, there's books you can read as well under it, but yeah, the listening. I must admit, I don't, the housework, yes, but I don't do much housework. But going for, like, I hate going for a walk. I find that really boring. And but I get to listen to a book. Oh yes, great.
Yeah, right? I make rules like you can't, the second you walk through the door from your workout, the book has to be turned off. Like you can't listen to it unless you're working out or doing.
You are a better woman than me.
I have to, otherwise I would, I have to listen to it till it's finished. So
Yes, that's definitely one of my problems. I traveled around a lot, and so you'd listen to a book for 2 hours or 3 hours.
yeah.
I would actually keep driving. It's like the rule was that every 2 hours you stop and walk around, but it's like, no, I've got to listen to the rest of the book.
See, I've gotten really good at multitasking. I can fold laundry and do it. I can make dinner and do it. I get stuff done.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
listen to a book, that's when I'm able to get stuff done. So
Me too. And Kate, I won't tell you the number of times I've driven my 10.5 hour drive to Salt Lake and pulled into the driveway and I have 20 minutes left in my book and it's so annoying. I'm like, I'm going to sit here. I'm not going in until I finish the book. So I've been trying to look at the hours it takes to listen to not have that problem where I just have 15 minutes left when I arrive.
But yeah, Amber, that self-discipline to go, okay, I finished those jobs now. I've got to stop listening to the book so I can do, some other jobs or something.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky. Or like sometimes when I'm trying to follow a recipe for dinner, I can't listen and read at the same time too much. So I have to pause my book and I'm so annoyed, like, oh, I have to make dinner for the kids now, So.
Oh dear. Well, that's great. And so what is so you're doing this talk in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Which I am so envious of the whole conference and reading all the different speakers that are available at that conference. It's just going to be amazing.
It's going to be incredible. There's a lot of speakers coming from all over. It's a Friday and a Saturday all day, and it's going to be amazing. There's a lot of licensed.
Did we say what the conference was called? You give us all the deets.
It's BYU's Life After Loss conference, and there's a lot of licensed professionals that are there speaking, and then there's a lot of like real talk, like me, where I'm not a licensed professional in any way as far as grief, but I've just been through it. And so, some more like us that are just more raw. And this is my experience with grief that are going to be there to speak. So it's going to be very, very exciting. I'm very excited to be there. It's been an honor to be accepted.
Yeah. Tell us what you're speaking on.
I am talking about how to find joy when life doesn't go the way that is planned. That's what I'm going to speak on. So it's kind of, I tell everything that I just told you, but it's going to be more detailed, and then just truly how to hand the reins over to God and align your will with His, and then just how to accept that, because that's such a hard feeling, and then also how to find joy in that. It was President Hinckley that said, in all of living, have much joy and laughter. Life is to be enjoyed, not just have much fun and laughter. Life is to be enjoyed, not just endured. And that was a quote that he said when I was a teenager. And I have just clung to that ever since, because we're not just supposed to grit our teeth and get through this life. And there are times when life is hard that's really the only way that you can get through the day. But I just feel like life is too good and God is too good to not enjoy it. Let's enjoy it. Let's have some fun.
It's a very important message. And for many of the people that, I see and talk to and things like, I would really like them all to get that message. That would be great.
Yeah.
Great that they're running a conference around this topic, because pretty well everybody's going to experience it in life. Like, we tend to sort of think that, they're our happy family and we're doing great. And you don't realize that this grief is going to be there sooner or later.
Oh, for sure. And I know, like, when my husband was diagnosed, I was in denial for a little bit, because I was like, no, I've already been divorced. Like, this is my second husband. He's my answer to prayers, to where I was like, he's it. I can go through any trial life gives me, because I know I will have him by my side. Like, that's just how it happens. You go through something hard and then He blesses you. So I went through my divorce and He gave me my second husband. And then whatever else hard comes, I'll have him. So then when he was diagnosed, I was just like, there's no way that the Lord would let him die based on everything else I've been through. And then He did, less than a year and a half later. And so not everyone will have a spouse pass away, but we all will experience grief in some way. And you never think it'll happen to you.
Yeah.
But that's such a natural part of life, is grief.
And I love that they're focusing on, obviously the big things that we grieve over, like the loss of a child or the loss of a spouse,
Right.
but the loss of a concept is just as much. Like, even
Yes.
for me, I mean, certainly went through the grieving of the loss of my marriage and my ideas of what my future was going to be like, and my, all of those things. But it also impacted my adult children. I mean, they were grieving the loss of what they thought going to see grandma and grandpa was, and
Yes.
visiting, and sharing grandkids with their mom and dad. And I mean, everything got disrupted, and so everyone gets forced kind of into a process of grieving the loss of a concept or an idea. And I think it's really important for us all to recognize it and acknowledge that.
I love that you said that, because sometimes I don't think secondary losses go noticed enough. Like you said, it's like that concept for your adult children of like Christmas at grandma and grandpa's house and things like that. That's a secondary loss that comes from the divorce, that a lot of the time we don't honor those enough. And so I think that's so important that this conference is going to be great, because like you said, it is focused primarily on the death part, a spouse, a parent, a sibling, a child, but we are going to talk about other losses that you have in life,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
which everyone will
And
experience.
and Amber, your story is just so touching. And what I remember about all of this, and I don't know if you want to speak to this, is not long after you lost your husband, and really after we met, you were ziplining. Do you want to share that story? I'm like,
Yeah, I can.
Amber, what else is going to happen to you?
I know. So I had taken my kids on a ward camp out. It actually was my parents' ward camp out, which is the ward I grew up in. So I always throw that in there, because I wasn't even like supposed to be there. It wasn't even like my own, but my parents had come and I knew people in the ward. So I only had my younger two kids with me at the time, but this was a year and a half ago. So it was 15 months after my husband had died. So 15 months. So I was past that year mark. And I remember that weekend just being like, I felt so good for the few weeks leading up to that weekend. I was just like, I'm going to live life. I'm going to live life for the both of us. I want to like grab it by the reins and just feel fire in my heart. And I just want to live, is like this feeling that I had. So we go on this camp out, and they had, a zip line going across this really big field, and they had kids going down it. So my daughter, who was 4, she said to me, can I go on this zip line? And like I said, they had kids like 2 years old going down. So I said, sure. She gets up there. She decides she can't do it. I get her down. So she and I have this good conversation, and I'm like, I'm so proud of you. I'm not disappointed. That takes a lot of courage and bravery. And then she told me to be a brave girl to go down the zip line. And I always throw that in there because I am terrified of heights. I don't do them, like, ever. So for me to get up there on that zip line was a really big deal. It's not like I would have done that anyway. I don't my parents have a picture of my dad holding me in the fetal position. I was crying so hard on the Ferris wheel at Disneyland, and I was 15 years old. I was not a child. Like, I don't do them. So anyway, my daughter asks me, and I'm like, if she and I just had this conversation, I gotta show her that I can be a brave girl too. And I always say we can do hard things. So I get in the zip line, and I don't know what came over me. Like I said, I had this fire in my heart leading up to that, where I was like, I'm gonna live for both of us. So I decided to go down upside down, and so I flipped upside down, and I wrapped my legs around the cable that attaches the harness to the zip line, and I let go with one hand, and I couldn't let go with the other. That was just too brave, and my legs started to slip out of the harness. So I was able to pull myself back up, hoping that I would just slide back into the harness. But the whole process of it, my legs just slipped out from underneath me out of the harness. So then I was just holding on with the one hand, and I ended up falling, and it was about 30 feet. And it was rough. I had blood coming out of everywhere, is what it felt like. I couldn't open my eyes for about 20 minutes. I think it was like the shock and the pain of it all, but I know that they were pulling out little rocks out of my eyes. My teeth looked terrible. They all were intact. It was just dirt, but it was like my head, my neck, my spine, my back, my pelvis. I broke a couple fingers. I tore a ligament in my ankle. I broke my ankle. Actually, that was it. Amazingly, I had a really bad concussion that I dealt with
huh?
for that was it. I know. It sounds like a lot, but and I had a concussion that I did deal with, and I still feel like I am dealing with that today. But considering how I looked in the field and the fall, how like I wasn't wearing a helmet, it could have been way worse. And I had that feeling as I was hanging there and about to fall. I really thought I was going to die from that. Like if you have, I don't know if anyone has had many near-death experiences, but to have that feeling of I'm going to fall and there's a chance that I'm going to die and my kids are here and they're going to watch the whole thing happen. Like it was very hard. And I had to get taken out by helicopter. And my daughter, like I said, who was 4 at the time, she stood there and watched me get put in the helicopter. And she was 4, my son was 2. She just so casually said to the woman next to her, "My daddy's in heaven with Jesus, and my mom's going to go live with Jesus too." And then she just walked away. So it was very traumatizing for my kids too, because I was bedbound for a couple of weeks. No, actually, I bedbound for a couple of days. My mom had to move in with us for about 3.5 weeks because I had 3 of my limbs in either a cast or a brace. So I couldn't do dishes, I couldn't bathe my kids, I couldn't cook, I couldn't even bathe myself for a little while. And yeah, it was wild. It was a wild time. I was in a wheelchair for a little bit and then a knee scooter. I did physical therapy for about 6 to 8 weeks. It was 4 hours a week of physical therapy. It was a recovery for sure. And that was all just over a year after my husband had passed away.
Ah,
Wow.
you are a testament to being able to do hard things for sure.
I remember it was that time where I was like, all right, Heavenly Father, I am so
Yeah.
confused. I'm very confused
Lots
right
of
now.
heart to hearts.
Yeah. It was a lot of heart to heart with the Lord during that time, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. Well, we've really enjoyed chatting with you, and your love of life. It's just comes through so well, and it's so
Oh,
exciting. And
thank
I know
you.
that feeling, like that's what I said after my husband's death. It's like I want to live, that,
Yeah.
and a lot of people around me didn't understand what I meant by that. It's like, but
I feel like you get it, Kay. Like I feel like you can like as I'm looking at you right now, like you feel it. Like it's just this feeling of like I don't want to just go through my days and just be stuck in like automatic mode. Like I just want to live. Like I said, I want to feel that fire in my heart and I want to be happy. And I want my kids to feel that mom is a happy person.
yeah,
You
I
know?
just didn't hang upside down on a zip line to do it.
No. I won't be doing that anytime soon. I feel like I can feel that in other ways. We're big believers in kitchen dance parties and, you can feel it in other ways. No more zip line for me for sure. But I just, like I had said, I believe that we are the architects of our own happiness. And I wish I could remember which apostle it was said in conference. They said that. I heard that around the time of my divorce and I had it on a sticky note on my fridge for a while because if we sit and wait for the happiness to come to us, it's not going to come. It's not going to come in the way we want it. It's not going to come in the form or the shape or the color or the person or anything like that and how we want it. If we should tell the Lord, I want to be happy and I'm going to take action and I'm going to take part in that, I think he will magnify our efforts for sure. But if we just sit back and wait for it to happen, it's not going to come. So live the heck of your life.
I love that. That's perfect. Well, thank you so much and welcome and good luck with your talk. And anybody who's anywhere near Salt Lake, go to the conference. Like it sounds like it's going to be an amazing conference.
Go say hi. Go say hi.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you for having me. This was wonderful.
You're welcome. Bye, everybody. Bye, Kim.
Bye.
Bye, Amber.
Bye. Thank you so much, Amber.